What is up, Cars and Couches gang? It's Matthew, and I'm here with another video. And today's video is actually going to kind of be a follow-up on a video that I've made in the past. If you watch the channel, you'll know that I made a video about 13 months ago. It was March of last year, regarding my Dodge Avenger not heating up and essentially a thermostat replacement. And at the time, that fixed the issue, but I've had issues with the heating in that car yet again later. So let me give you some background information. There was a point in time when I made that video that the car was not heating up, and I noticed that the thermostat was just showing really, really cold when I was driving in the winter. So I ended up taking it to O'Reilly's and OBD2 sensing it and finding out that there was in fact a bad thermostat. So I replaced said thermostat, and after I replaced it, I ended up having hot air in the car for the remainder of that winter, even though it was like late in the year. I had it for the rest of that. Anyway, some months go by, and all of a sudden, my car ends up having this issue with the with overheating now. So one day I'm driving it, and all of a sudden it just overheats, and I'm like, oh, this is not normal. So we take it into the shop, and after we take it into the shop, they ended up replacing a thermostat, which I thought was crazy because I had just replaced it no more than 6 months ago, and now they're telling me that the thermostat was bad, which I don't know. It could have went bad again, and this is actually a separate issue, which I'll end up getting to for why I didn't end up having heat later. But anyway, they go and replace that, saying that the old one could have just been a dud or a defective one after I placed it in there, or it just didn't last long enough. And so what ends up happening is we fix the thermostat, and there's no overheating or the engine's not running cold at all. There's no issues with the engine heat. Or the engine temperature, I guess I should say. So everything was kind of all good, but then all of a sudden it starts getting cold again, as it's been months later, and we're noticing that there's, again, no heat in the car. So now I'm at this point where it's like, okay, so I didn't have heat at one point, fix the thermostat, I end up having heat, and then all of a sudden, months later, I have a problem with my thermostat, it gets replaced. Supposedly the one that I replaced it with was a dud and didn't last long, but I'm still having no heat. So I was wondering what the issue was. So I think in that last video that I made, I talked about like the possible culprits of what could cause your car to not heat up. And it's essentially that you could need to refill on antifreeze, or you could have a problem with the thermostat, and you could have a problem with the heater core. So that's where I'm going with this right now. So after the thermostat has been replaced twice, and it's already been checked, and the antifreeze and everything has been good, and when I put in the new thermostat, I added more, flushed it, and then put some more, there is a new issue. Well, unbeknownst to me, apparently Dodge Avengers aren't the best for their heater cores, and that's apparently what it was. So it's very well that the reason why I didn't have heat in the beginning was because of a thermostat, because after I replaced it, I ended up having heat, and then 6-7 months later, my heater core just went out. Or actually, what would have happened is my thermostat was a dud the second time. That one got replaced, and then I ended up around that time, or around the same exact time, coincidentally, the heater core also goes out. So my car wasn't producing any heat, and so we just need to figure this out. So like I said, the last culprit that we could have thought was the heater core. Actually, it could have also been a thing with the blender door, but that was also checked in the car by removing some panels and then physically looking at the actuator on the blender door and twisting the knobs to actually see that they were working. So now everything was ruled out, and there was nothing else that it could be besides the heater core. So this is a video of me telling you that's what it was. If you're having heat issues in your Avenger, and you've replaced the thermostat, and your blender doors are not having a problem, and your antifreeze is all good, then chances are it's this bad boy right here. And apparently Dodge Avengers are just don't have the best heater cores, and they're known for going bad. And I'm just going to kind of show you guys how mine looks like. And also, we flushed this out multiple times, and that didn't change it. But if you want to look at this heater core now, it's just disgusting. The heater core went completely bad. This is even after it's been flushed like 3-4 times. The heater core is just bad. Like, it just needed to be replaced. So if you're having issues with your Dodge Avenger and you've ruled out everything else, chances are it's your heater core. And if you need to go into the shop to replace this, it's going to be over $1,000. They're going to take over a day to fix the issue, and in replacing it, they're going to take out the entire dash just to replace this. But if you are a car savvy person and know what you're doing with working on a car, there's actually even cheaper, more effective method for getting this replaced. So let me just move this back over so it stays attached. So anyway, this is the bad heater core. And as you can see, it's actually been cut here. So if you end up going and taking the car in to get a new heater core, they're going to charge you for all that labor plus this. Or you can actually do the labor yourself and save a lot of the money. And so the way that this was actually done was there was originally these two pieces that were attached as so. I'm not doing a really good video or a good job of showing you on video, but they go like this, and this kind of goes behind the firewall. So if you want to stop yourself from having to take apart the complete like dash and replacing this yourself, you can do that. And essentially what you do is from underneath the driver's seat, there's a few panels that you can remove, and then like a metal cover, which this is like kind of, or that's like kind of like hiding it, and you can replace that and then get to this and cut these pieces off yourself. And rather than actually, so this is the part that would actually go past the firewall. Instead of removing everything and then having to replace this with this whole entire, with the pipes like this, you can actually just get a new heater core and then cut the pipe off so you can remove this, take the new heater core, you have the old ones like this, and actually just attach this piece. Let's see if I can show you. You can actually attach these pipes like this by using a rubber hose that's made for high heat over this, and then putting clamps on both ends and for both of these things. So that's how we ended up going and doing it. So it was for sure that the heater core was the problem, and we knew that this was something that we could do ourselves, and there's actually a really easy way to do it. And like I said, what you do is you remove some of the panels underneath the steering wheel, and then you'll have access to the area where this is going to be. And after cutting it and getting tubes that will fit it, and I believe that the proper size tubes was 5/8, but 5/8 was a little bit snug. It kind of like was hard to work with it. I guess if I had to go back and re-explain how the best way to do it, probably with an 11/16 tube, so just 1/16 of an inch bigger than the tube that I used. I still ended up getting it on, but it was just super, super difficult, and I think that it'd actually be a lot easier if you ended up using a tube. But like I said, you just end up taking the heater core out, cutting it, and making sure that the where you cut it on this piece and this piece are in the same area, so that you can actually put the tube over to connect these things. Like, you know, it goes over kind of like a sleeve, like this, and then clamping this side and this side together on both of these, and that's one way to fix your heater core. So since this has been replaced, I've had no issues with the heat, and I'm hoping that there will never be issues with heat again on this Avenger for as long as I have it, because I've already replaced the thermostat twice. Well, I replaced it once, and then it got replaced a second time at an auto shop, and then I still had heating issues. It was the heater core. It's been replaced. If you can, save the money and don't pay for the labor at an auto shop. If you know what you're doing in a car, if you know what you're doing on a car, get yourself the new heater core, get some tube, get some clamps, and go and replace that yourself. A really helpful thing that you can do is, guess what, YouTube, is you can go to YouTube and just search Dodge Avenger heater core replacement, and there's actually a couple videos. One of them does a little bit more taking apart of like the dash, and the other person goes the way that I did it and just does it from the driver's side underneath the steering wheel. And I think it's the video is pretty intuitive and explains things extremely well. So if you know how to work on a car, definitely give it a shot. If your car is not heating up, if your Dodge Avenger is not heating up, if your car is not heating up, give this a try. I guess that was the issue. So after everything was ruled out, it's safe to say that, you know, now replacing the heater core, that it's working. So I hope this video helps for anybody that was still having issues even after replacing a thermostat or just having heater issues in general with the car. Guys, if you like this video, it means a lot. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and can't wait to see us hit 1,000. Guys, I'll catch you guys on the flip side.